are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and we got some breaking news. Can you believe it? Miss Marvel Kamala Khan is not going to be dead for very long. Oh my goodness. Here is from the Marvel press release. The heart of the Marvel universe, and please don't roll your eyes too much, will be reborn in Miss Marvel, the New Mutant comic book series this August. And remember, like a month ago, that brouhaha that happened on social media, even with the kids down at the local arcade. People lost their minds. Oh my God, it was leaked that Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, was going to die in Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Now, a dummy like me was able to even see at that point, wait a second, everybody calm down. Nobody stays dead in comics anyway. Miss Marvel has that Marvel's movie coming out, and all this is going to be is that so she can be resurrected on Krakoa as a mutant. I ended up getting blocked by so many people, not even just on Twitter, but at the local arcade as well. It was crazy. But these people on Twitter got mad at me because I wasn't losing my mind like they were. I was actually thinking things through and using some common sense. So I did end up saying to some, just relax. She'll be back soon. She'll be a mutant. They blocked me. So I just want to dedicate this video to them. All those people that blocked me because I told them to just use some sense and relax and whatnot. They didn't want to hear it. But here we go. The series will also debut a new Miss Marvel costume design created by Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel character designer Jamie McKelvey. It's cool. I like a fashion show, but here's the meat and cheese of all of this. Ever since Kamala Khan took up her mantle as Jersey City's greatest hero, I mean, that's a low bar, but still, fans have come to know her as an Inhuman, a champion, an Avenger, and now for the first time ever, fans will know her as an X-Men. This August, Miss Marvel will return for her most pivotal and defining chapter yet. And it all kicks off with an all-new comic book series, Miss Marvel, the New Mutant. Announced exclusively by Entertainment Weekly, Miss Marvel, the New Mutant will be a 4-issue limited series co-written by Aman Vellani, who plays Kamala Khan in the Marvel Studios' Miss Marvel. And that's a cool deal. I think she's a gem. And we've had this even recently. Paul Dano's doing the Riddler book over at DC, Black Label book. But you have things like this going on a lot. And I always think that it's pretty cool. But if it's somebody who even says later in this press release has never written anything in their lives, you got to hook them up with somebody that knows what they're doing and possibly somebody who's done some good things in the past, hopefully with this character, and that's where this continues. Sabir Pirzada will be the actual comic book professional. If you don't have a thing that dings in your head, Sabir Pirzada, who's that? Well, Sabir Pirzada did the Dark Web Miss Marvel book, which was awful. And all I can say about that is you had a crap-talking mosque in that. It was terrible. And that's what we're going to get. Also has written some Miss Marvel stuff, TV show. So you have that pedigree, but still, Sabir Pirzada is not somebody who I would want to have co-writing for my first thing if I was Aman Vellani. And even so, right now, you end up having Cult of Carnage Misery written by Pirzada. And that's another thing that's just it's so forgettable. There's nothing about it, nothing that's going to get you excited. Maybe the play here was they have Sabir Pirzada, hey, we'll have them do this new Kamala Khan series. And then somebody realized nobody's going to buy it. It's not a name anybody's going to go with. So let's grab Aman Vellani, throw her name on it. And I really hope that she can get past that obstacle that is Sabir Pirzada and become a really cool comic book writer and end up maybe we get something really good out of this. But like I'm telling you, I'm kind of getting red flags with Sabir Pirzada. Somebody might be upset that I say that, possibly Sabir Pirzada's mother. I don't know. But it's also going to be drawn by Carlos Gomez, Rogue and Gambit, and Adam Gorham, who has done Star Wars Darth Vader. That's fine. Here are some quotes. Here's the first one from Aman Vellani. And like I said, I really like her. I think she's a gem. But she mentions some things in this quote that she must not realize is going to trigger some people. some people are going to be upset with how she explains this book is and what it means to her. This was way scarier than joining the MCU for me, Villani told EW. Those projects feel like they live in their own dimension, so I guess I can separate myself easier. But you can hold a comic book. I've never written anything before in my entire life, but I have read many comics. So I just wrote what I would want to read. All right, that kind of can get you into trouble sometimes, but hey, write what you want. But then she says, I was given a very professional tool to write what is essentially my own fan fiction. Anytime I hear fan fiction, it just reminds me, first off, it goes well with the X books. Pretty much the reason why I stopped reading the X-Men books was because it seemed like writers like Tini Howard wrote what she wanted to read, and also it was fan fiction. Leah Williams, all these other writers. Oh my goodness, but I hope that this works out better. But then we'll get, Sabir Prasada says, it was actually a very humbling experience to work with Aman, because she knows her comics even better than I do. I don't doubt that. And then says, and that is saying something. Is it just imagine, nobody knows who you are, guy. And you end up like, oh man, can you believe she knows more about comics than me? Can you believe that? Well, I read that Miss Marvel Dark Web. I do believe it. And that's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. She was throwing out references to specific comics that came out before either of us were born. You know what that is, Sabir? That is what you call research. That's what you call doing your job. There should be no way that Aman shows up and wows you because she's saying, oh man, remember when that happened? Remember that in the comics? I don't remember anything. She is a very great eye for what makes a good sequence on the pages drawn by an artist. That's pretty cool. It was very impressive for me to see her throw out these references. He's back to these references. This is really blowing his mind that somebody actually writing a comic knows some things that happened in the past with comics. And again, I know he's trying to, pump up Aman, but really it's just frustratingly getting me angry that people would think this, that a comic, oh my God, she actually knows about the comics. It was very impressive. He says that she was naming different artists that she's been following through the years. I could just imagine like, hey, Aman, what artist do you like? I don't know. You ever hear of this guy, John Romita? John who? Mind blown. You ever hear of this guy, Jack Kirby? Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, what are you going to say next? Next thing you're going to tell me that you know who Steve Ditko is. I certainly do. Oh, my God. My mind keeps getting blown by you, Aman. Holy moly, you know it all. I'm going to continue. After Kamala's heroic sacrifice that saved the world in Amazing Spider-Man, I can imagine that she's there. And you have Sabir. He's like, okay, like what sort of comics do you like? She's like, well, I didn't really love the Nick Spencer run of Amazing Spider-Man. Nick who? Oh my goodness, what are you, an encyclopedia? Ew. Yeah, back to this again. Miss Marvel's tragic death sent heroes across the Marvel Universe in mourning. And it lasted about a morning, right? Hey! The Avengers, Spider-Man, Champions, and beyond came together to remember Kamala and beyond. And Miss Marvel's life and legacy, but not all is what it seemed. Yeah, because it was a dupe. You jerks. Fans will finally start to learn the truth about Kamala's mutant and inhuman identity in the upcoming X-Men Hellfire Gala #1. #1, Volume 10. One shot later this month, after being brought back via Krakoan resurrection technology, Kamala's shocked to learn she's a mutant. Wouldn't we all be? Wouldn't we all? But before she has a chance to come to terms with this revelation, the catastrophic fall of X will throw her world into chaos and a secret mission on behalf of the X-Men. I can imagine, here I am, and I'm not going to tell you that I am the heart of the Marvel Universe, but I do think I'm the soul of the Marvel Universe. And I will mention that when I say that as a joke, I actually have appeared in a Marvel issue. It was, and I wish I knew the number of it, but it was the Dead Man Logan series. So I'm in here. I am the soul of the Marvel Universe. And boy, if I came out, they resurrected me on Krakoa. I come out of there and I'm like, all right, what's going on? They're like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. Fall of X. The X-Men are in chaos. There's trouble. I'm like, Cab, I'm just going home. I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to tell anybody. Just, I just came back. I walked out of a tree. I don't know what the hell happened. There was a bunch of goo and stuff. I'm here. Now she's on a secret mission on behalf of the X-Men. It really is. It feels like a guy that you meet, right? You meet this guy, and in 2 days, the guy is making you do crap for him. You're moving him in a house. You're running errands for him. I don't even know this guy. Why am I running errands for him? Don't miss the beginning of Miss Marvel's Mutant Adventures this August in Hellfire Gala #1. And be there to witness the start of a new era in Miss Marvel, New Mutant #1. She's a new mutant, she is. And yeah, all of this, we'll have to wait and see. I'm having fun with this, but still, we'll have to wait and see how this all works out. But the thing that scares me and the thing that I think is the most important thing here, Miss Marvel, all that, let's push that aside. It's the idea, and recently during the whole Hawks and Pox thing and all that, Jonathan Hickman even mentioned this whole bit, where the movies were always there to grab stories from the comics. That made the comics bigger. Maybe not in sales, but it's still, that's why you had them. And a lot of people even said, well, the only reason they have the comics is to have an idea factory for the cinematic universe. And that's fine, because you keep churning out the comics. But when you start doing this gets the line kind of skewed here. And now you're having the comics follow the cinematic universe. And if that goes too far, if the comics then start getting all of their inspiration from the movies, we're in a lot of trouble. And I say we as in comic book readers and fans, because first off, that makes the comics really not that important anymore. But also the stories aren't going to be as good. And I sat there and thought about this when I heard this announcement today. And I ended up thinking, like, what are the big stories right now that will be the cinematic stuff in 10 years when they go back to grab some things? And there's not a lot of things that they'll be able to grab. There's a lot of nonsense going on right now. So I hope that the trend doesn't continue with we're just going to follow the cinematic universe, trying to grab the big money and all that going on. And that's what this kind of seems a bit like. So we'll see. But I do think that I'm interested to see how much, and I will never know how much Amon writes and how much Sabir's doing it, whatnot. But I really am interested to see if she has what it takes. I always like when you get new writers, and hopefully things work out. And there is other things. I think it's Natalie Maines who does the Dreamer stuff over at DC. Like, this happens a bunch of times, happening more often now. It can end up being pretty cool. So we'll see. We'll see. But as always, let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. I'm sure I pissed people off by being goofy, but that's just the way it goes, right? It's the way it is, and probably, I don't know. I just think that somehow, somewhere, somebody's blocking me on Twitter right now just because I had a laugh. Man, I was relaxed. I didn't lose my mind. But that's that. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, all that stuff, because that's what keeps things churning along. Remember, I am the soul of the Marvel Universe, but I will talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.